I'm Don Friedman, CEO of the Digital Assets Council of Financial Professionals. I'm talking with Matt Hougan, the CIO at Bitwise Investments. Matt, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Don. It's good to see you.
Hey, I want to set the stage here. So Matt puts out a CIO memo every week at Bitwise. This week's memo is called "What Would It Take?" And before Matt goes into explaining about what this week's memo is about, Matt and I both used to work at ETF.com. And this was back in 2007. And people used to look at us like we were crazy. ETFs, never going to work. Mutual funds own the day. Well, let's fast forward to May 1st of 2025. ETFs have roughly $13 trillion in assets. And so when I read Matt's memo this week, and he'll tell you about it right now, he'll tell you all about it as it relates to Bitcoin. So Matt, take it from here.
Yeah, thank you, Don. I agree with that. I think crypto and Bitcoin specifically are following the same path from people being very skeptical to it to waking up to the reality that it's at the center of finance. So, one of the things I try to do in my memo is share some stories from the road. And in this case, I gave a speech to one of the big four wirehouses about Bitcoin. That in itself is notable because the wirehouses aren't open for business yet on Bitcoin ETFs. The fact that I'm giving talks at their events suggests they're moving in that direction. But what happened at this event in particular was really notable. After you give a speech, you get off stage, you get surrounded by people who are asking questions. And there was one guy in the background who listened to 20 or 30 other people ask questions and just waited till the very end and came up to me and said, "I love what you said on stage. It made a lot of sense to me, but I just can't quite get over the hump." And he couldn't identify what it was that was preventing him from getting over the line on Bitcoin. It was just this sense that, what if all the music stopped? What would he be left with? There's something he couldn't touch. And we almost gave up. And then at the end, just as he's about to walk away, I said to him, "Well, you should write it down." And what I meant by that, I said, was write down what it would take to get you over the line. Because I think a thing that happens in crypto is we continually shift the goalposts. If you go back 5 years ago, you might have said, we need institutional custodians with insurance in place. Or you go back 4 years ago, we need institutional trading partners like Jane Street and Citadel. Or 2 years ago, we need an ETF that makes it easy to buy. Or a year ago, we need an SEC that's more favorable to crypto. We need less regulatory risk. Or 6 months ago, we need the US government to endorse Bitcoin. And the reality is all of those things have happened, Don. If I had asked you to write down 5 years ago what it would take to get you over the line, you might have picked one of those things. You might have said an ETF, and you would have bought it at 40K, and you'd be happy today at 97K. So I asked him what it would take. Would it take the G20 all adopting Bitcoin as a treasury asset? Would it take Bitcoin being around as long as gold, which is never going to happen? And so you might as well stop paying attention. And when I forced or encouraged him to put a note on it, to actually write it down, he thought about it, reflected for a minute, and then said, "I guess I'm going to buy Bitcoin." And I think that's the message I want to get people. If you're still thinking about this asset, if you're still wondering about it, actually take that sort of amorphous concern and make it real. Write it down. What would it take to get you over the line? And I think the process of doing that will actually cause a lot of people to get over the line and make them realize that this industry has come a long way.
That's awesome. That's a great story. We appreciate you sharing that. If you want to hear more from Matt, we are doing a webinar with Matt on May 20th. It's actually called The Great De-Risking: Why There's Never Been a Better Time to Buy Bitcoin. How apropos based on this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And then also the Bitwise team will be at our Vision conference, which is the longest running digital assets investment conference, which will be June 9th to the 11th in Dallas, Texas. Again, to get Matt's memo, go to bitwiseinvestments.com. To get access to the webinar that we're doing or Vision, go to DACFP.com. Matt, really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks for having me, Don.